Okay, so you've sent us a really interesting batch of stuff this time. Lots of articles, forum threads, all pointing to some pretty major things happening in the VTuber world lately. Feels like a bit of a shakeup, actually.
Absolutely. And when you look through all these sources, you start seeing these themes popping up again and again. We're
Hmm.
talking big names leaving agencies, some really intense controversies playing out,
Yeah.
and sort of underneath it, all these questions about the money side of things, the health of the whole VTuber scene. So our job here really is to cut through the noise and give you the key takeaways, make sense of it all without it being too overwhelming.
Right. Let's try and unpack it then, because, yeah, it's a lot. Probably best to start with the graduations, I think, and the huge one, obviously, is Gaogura leaving Hololive.
Hmm.
And just for anyone maybe not deep in the scene, she's massive, right?
Yeah.
Over 4.5 million subscribers on YouTube. Huge.
Correct. Yeah, Gura's departure is definitely a landmark moment. She's got immense influence, especially in the Hollow EN side. Her statement mentioned disagreements with management and company direction.
After being there quite a while.
Exactly. And it does make you think, when someone that big potentially goes independent, can they keep that audience? It could shift the power dynamic a bit away from just the agency brand.
Yeah, interesting point. And graduation, like you said, that's the word they use, isn't it? When someone leaves an agency, retires the persona, sort of like Japanese idol groups, apparently.
That's the comparison often made, yeah.
And it's not just Gura. We also saw Nashi Mume, also from Hala VN. She's set to graduate next year in 2025.
That's right. So you've got multiple really popular members leaving Hall of English now. And you can feel it in the community comments. We saw one on Reddit saying they felt tired of living through historical events in VTubing. These hits are landing hard for some fans.
I bet. And here's where it gets, well, kind of speculative, but interesting. There's a lot of talk, especially on Reddit, that Gura might actually come back as an indie VTuber called Senzawa.
Ah, yes. That speculation is definitely out there.
And apparently it's not, like, unheard of. Other VTubers have graduated and then reappeared as indies, and sometimes they build back up really fast.
Yeah, there is precedent. And what's fascinating there is how it shows the power, potentially, of the individual creator's brand,
Yeah.
built up even within an agency. It makes you wonder about that balance, talent versus the organization.
Hmm. Okay, so moving away from the departures, which are big enough on their own, we need to dive into some controversies now. The name Sinder keeps popping up in the materials you sent. What's the story there?
Right, the Sinder situation.
Yeah.
It involves several different accusations that have really stirred things up. There are claims she tried to, gatekeep an artist from making VTuber models,
Mm-hmm.
which apparently impacted another VTuber, Bao. Then there's the firing of her manager, people are calling them redacted,
Mm-hmm.
online, and also allegations about copying designs. So quite a few things bundled together.
And the timing. Someone on Reddit pointed out this all seemed to happen around when she became a part owner of Gamer Subs.
That connection's definitely been noted, yes.
Whew.
Being linked to a known brand like GamerSubs, well, it adds another layer, doesn't it? Probably increases the scrutiny.
So,
Cinder did put out a short statement on Twitter X, said she took immediate action, fired the manager, and promised a fuller statement later.
and the reaction online seems pretty mixed. From what we saw on Reddit, some think this could really hurt her career. Others are saying maybe she can recover depending on how she handles it from here.
It definitely raises questions about accountability for online creators.
Yeah.
How do you navigate something like this? You can see the disappointment from fans, some feeling like they supported someone, maybe problematic without knowing.
Yeah, I saw comments like that.
And there's also the practical side, right? Like, will this make it harder for her to collaborate with others in the future? That's a real possibility.
Okay, then there's also the Ducky Bird situation. This one sounds really messy, something about a charity PC auction.
Yeah, this one's quite concerning. Allegations that the person building the PC for a charity auction tried to inflate the costs, maybe even scam her. It apparently got serious enough that lawyers and police had to get involved.
Wow, okay.
And Doki Bird also mentioned issues with previous management taking control of her brand. That also needed police help for her to relocate. Just sounds incredibly stressful.
And part of that previous management, wasn't it her mother, reportedly? Leading to a big falling out.
That detail was mentioned, yes. It really highlights how vulnerable creators can be, managing their brand, their finances, especially when personal relationships get mixed up in the business side.
Absolutely. It really throws the scale and, I guess, the infrastructure of the big agencies like Hololive into sharp relief, doesn't it? Let's maybe look at their financials for a moment.
It's a good transition. That cover court report, Holive's parent company, it showed some really big numbers, like talent remuneration, around 39 million US dollars in the last fiscal year.
39 million. That's a lot.
It is. It shows the scale they operate at, the investment in talent.
Mm.
Now, obviously, that's not split evenly, right? The top earners, you'd assume, get a much bigger slice. And you can sort of see that reflected in things like super chat data sometimes. But still, it's a huge overall figure.
And they shipped, what, 4 million merch items last year?
Yeah, the logistics alone.
And they're still building out Hollow Earth, maybe even their own streaming platform eventually. Seems like they're building a whole world.
It points to a big long-term vision, yeah. Moving beyond just YouTube or Twitch, creating their own ecosystem. More control, more ways to monetize, potentially more immersive stuff for fans.
Okay, but even inside this big Hollow world, it's not all smooth sailing, is it? There seems to be some friction around Holostars, the male VTuber group.
Right. We saw discussions on their Holostar subreddit where some fans and maybe talents feel a bit excluded, or like their content gets pushed down on the main Hololive subreddit. Yeah, but it brings up that challenge of keeping everyone happy in a big organization. The feeling expressed there is that, everyone under cover course should get fair support.
And there's frustration with unicorns. That's the term for really obsessive fans of one specific female talent, right? Who apparently downvote Holostar's stuff.
That's the term used, yeah. It refers to fans who can be very possessive, sometimes hostile towards male talents interacting with their favorite female talents, or just downvoting Holostar's content in general. It's an unfortunate side of intense fandom.
Sounds pretty toxic.
It can be. Though it's worth noting, some on the Holostar subreddit felt that the negativity on the main Reddit was maybe an outlier, not reflective of interactions everywhere else.
Okay. But still, there are even worries about bots or vote manipulation affecting Holostar's visibility on the main subreddit. Sounds like a genuine struggle for them to get fair footing there.
The allegations are there, yeah. Managing huge online communities is complex, and manipulation is always a risk that can mess with visibility and, morale.
Okay, let's zoom out then. Look at the whole VTuber market. The research report data we saw projects, well, frankly, incredible growth. A compound annual growth rate over 20%, hitting $20 billion by 2035.
It's staggering, isn't it? Really shows this isn't just a niche thing anymore. It's booming. And the drivers, better tech, basically. Motion capture, AI, streaming tech, all getting better and cheaper, making it easier to create and watch this stuff.
And the money's coming from all over ads, super chats, sponsorships, merch, live shows, both virtual and real world even.
Exactly. It's a diverse income stream. And trends are pushing it further. AI VTubers popping up, more AR, VR for immersion, expanding globally, way beyond Japan and South Korea now.
But there are challenges too, right? That the report mentioned market saturation, being tied to specific platforms.
Yeah, platform dependency is a big one. And just the constant need to keep creating good content to stand out. It's not easy.
And that report, plus an academic study we looked at, they both really highlight the dominance of the big agencies like Hololive and Michisanji.
They do. The study, looking at super chat data, found these big agencies have way more members and people sending super chats overall. But interestingly,
What's that?
independent VTubers, while having maybe fewer viewers overall, seem to have a higher percentage of really loyal fans, like really dedicated viewers.
Huh. So different kinds of fan engagement, maybe?
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
The study talked about parasocial relational labor that emotional work viewers put in, and it found many viewers only subscribe to one VTuber. That points to really strong individual connections.
That makes sense. And the study also said that agency VTubers tend to stick around longer. Their careers last longer.
Generally, yes. Which probably comes down to the stability, the resources, the infrastructure that big agencies provide. It's likely less precarious than being fully independent.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, it feels like we've touched on a lot of interconnected things. Individual VTubers facing big challenges, graduations, controversies.
Right, stuff that really impacts them personally and professionally.
Then the internal dynamics within the big agencies, like Hololive and Holostars.
The tensions, the community management issues.
And all of this is happening while the overall VTuber market is just, like, exploding with growth.
Precisely. So even with all the, the drama and the setbacks for some individuals, the big picture is still one of massive expansion driven by tech and these really dedicated fan bases.
So thinking about how fast this is all changing, how much more professional it seems to be getting, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? How are those relationships between The creators, the agencies, the fans, how are they going to keep shifting?
Yeah, what's the long-term impact going to be on the
Okay.
community, on just online entertainment in general? It's evolving so quickly.
Definitely something to keep thinking about. Thanks for diving into all this with us today.